Dwayne Johnson, age 59, was sentenced Monday for holding a heavy metal death party for his wife in January of 2019, during which she died from a methamphetamine overdose, according to the Brown County's attorney office. The criminal complaint says that 69-year-old Deborah Lynn Johnson was found dead in her Searless home on January 24th, 2019. Dwayne called 911 to report her passing. Officers arrived and found Dwayne naked, with Deborah being wrapped in a bedsheet.
On January 24th, 2019, in Minnesota, around 11:45 a.m., a deputy of Brown County Sheriff's Department was dispatched to a residence. A call would come in, and a man would say that his wife was dead. Deputy Jason Fairbairn was the first on scene and immediately realized something was wrong. On the front door was spray painted, "Death, Party, God, and Hell." As the deputy approached the home, the door would swing open, and the deputy was greeted by a fully nude man. The man at the door was 59-year-old Dwayne Johnson, and he would begin to scream at the deputy that his wife was upstairs dead. With a great amount of confusion, the deputy would ask what was going on, and Dwayne would scream, "I have to wash this stuff off of me. I need to take a bath." Then he would turn and run into the home. The deputy would approach the home slowly and would call out for Dwayne, and Dwayne would refuse to come to the deputy and would say, "I'm in the bath, so if you want to talk, you are going to have to come in here." The deputy would call for backup. While he was talking with Dwayne, the deputy would ask Dwayne what happened to his wife, and Dwayne would say that his wife was shaking uncontrollably and flopping around. Dwayne would say that he couldn't stand to see her that way. Dwayne would state that he didn't call for an ambulance because the last time this happened, they were able to revive her, and because of that, his life was shit. Then Dwayne would say he had to take a bath because there were little black and white things coming out of his skin. The deputy would look at Dwayne's body and would see nothing. It was clear that Dwayne was on crystal meth. The deputy would stay with Dwayne, and his backup would soon arrive and locate Dwayne's wife, 69-year-old Deborah Lynn Johnson, at the top of the stairs, wrapped in a bedsheet with some belts. The officer would ask Dwayne if his wife's body was in the sheet, and Dwayne would respond, "Yes, I prepared the body like the Bible told me to." Dwayne would say that he cleaned her and made her beautiful, then wrapped her in fine linen. Dwayne would assure the officers that he was telling the truth by saying he was too stupid to lie. "I'm too dumb to plan ahead." The officers would go to Deborah's body to make sure she was dead, and her body was still warm, but there was no pulse detected. Deborah's body was taken away, and Dwayne was taken to the station for questioning. The detectives would ask Dwayne to start at the beginning, and Dwayne would say that Deborah was living in a care facility, but she was very unhappy. So Dwayne would take his wife out of the care facility sometime in September 2018. The facility would strongly recommend that she stayed, but Dwayne and Deborah would go against the recommendation. Dwayne would state that Deborah's health has been going downhill ever since he brought her home. Dwayne would say in January, Deborah would say that she didn't want to live anymore, so she would stop drinking liquids, eating, and taking her medication. The pair would smoke a large amount of crystal meth, and over the course of 5 days, they would have what Dwayne would call a death party. They would play metal music and have intercourse during those 5 days. Deborah had diabetes, and her insulin pump had broken, so Dwayne would guesstimate the amount she needed. Dwayne would say that Deborah had said, "No matter what happens, do not let them take me back to the nursing home or the hospital." Due to the meth and the low insulin levels, Deborah would start to shake violently for the last 2 days of the 5-day death party, so Deborah would not be able to get any sleep. Dwayne would say that he was trying to help his wife pass peacefully, and he would go out to grab snow and put it in her mouth. Dwayne would say that he would hold his wife when she began to shake. Dwayne would turn the music up as loud as it would go, so he wouldn't have to hear his wife suffering. Dwayne would say about 1.5 hours before Deborah's death, they would have intercourse one last time, and after that her shaking seemed to decrease, and she seemed to be more at peace. A short time after that, she would pass away, and Dwayne would clean her and wrap her in the sheets. Dwayne would call 911 at 11:45 a.m. and tell them that his wife had died at 8 a.m. And when asked why he didn't call sooner, Dwayne would say that Deborah had cut the phone lines in the house. Dwayne said she did that so he wouldn't be able to call for help because she wanted to die. This would turn out to be a lie because the officers checked Dwayne's home after Dwayne was taken in for questioning. Then Dwayne would change his story, saying that he wanted to make sure she was dead because that's what Deborah wanted. It would turn out that Deborah had been in the hospital 1 week before her death for her diabetes not being under control. The detectives would also find out that Deborah had manic episodes in the past. Along with the autopsy, a toxicology was done on Deborah, and it was found that she had a large amount of methamphetamines in her system. It was an overdose that had killed Deborah. Upon background check, Dwayne had a few DUIs and assaults, and the police would find a large amount of firearms in the home. Dwayne would subsequently be charged with third-degree murder, and his bail was set to $250,000. Dwayne's lawyer would somehow negotiate a plea deal. Therefore, Dwayne was found guilty of criminal neglect, and Dwayne was sentenced to 3 years in prison. The county assistant attorney would make the following statements, quote, "The agreement that the parties had reached in this case and the sentence imposed is appropriate. The circumstances and loss of life are incredibly tragic. The facts of the case are unique to say the least. While I think that Mr. Johnson was doing what he felt the victim wanted and did not act with malice, however, as the victim's caregiver, he did not provide the victim with adequate health care. Whilst in the position to otherwise provide such care, the deprivation along with the supplying of methamphetamines resulted in the death. For that he must be held accountable." It would appear that Dwayne did his time and is now a free man. This was one of the weirdest cases I've covered so far. Needless to say, don't do drugs, kids. Let me know what you think down in the comments.